I think a more sophisticated understanding of how you introduce scale earlier on into projects would be hugely beneficial, particularly for us and the work that we're doing, not just in Wales but across the nations, but also for social innovation projects more generally. I think we see lots of really good things happening in small pockets around, particularly in Wales, in different communities. Thinking about how you take the best of those things and share them with other people, whether that's through kind of new organisations or different scaling strategies, or through the public service more generally. I'd really like to see us get much better at doing that earlier on, so that we can actually accelerate the pace of impact as well as scale it. My job is all about helping to deliver Nesta's strategy in Wales, so that's thinking about where our ideas come from, who we're working with to bring those ideas to life, but also a bit more specifically about our missions. And in particular, at the moment, I'm looking at our Fairest Start mission and thinking about where the opportunities lie. So there's quite a large amount of child benefit, for instance, that goes unclaimed in Wales every year. So thinking about how we might be able to support people with new ideas to access that funding to improve the lives of young people. I'm really interested in the work that national innovation bodies do and how they support innovation at a national level. So the work of people like Vinnova in Sweden and Citra in Finland or Taxi in Australia, and particularly the way that they're thinking about mission-driven work and how they're supporting that in their nations is really interesting. We have the opportunity with the devolved nation to do things differently from the UK government. So how we learn from different nations, particularly different sized nations, and bring that back to Wales is really interesting. So I think from a devolved nation perspective, I'd like us to continue to be big and bold in the decisions that we make about social impact and the role of innovation in those spaces. I think in Wales in particular, we've seen that when Welsh Government in particular decides to take a big, bold step, they can make a real difference to people's lives. So continuing to be bold in those places where we need to make an impact is perhaps the most important thing, but probably one of the hardest things to carry on doing over the next 5 years if budgets continue to be cut. There's two books that I think it's worth reading if you're interested in social innovation or innovation more generally at the moment. So the first is by Michael Bhaskar, and it's called Human Frontiers. It's all about where big ideas come from and why it's getting harder to have them at the moment, but also how it might get easier in the future. And I think for anyone who's really interested in the kind of nuts and bolts of R&D, I'd really recommend René Redzepi's journal. I think it's called Work in Progress, which goes into a year of him developing interesting new flavours and concepts and dishes at Noma, the best restaurant in the world. If you think about what they have to go to maintain the standards that they do, but also the kind of deep creativity and exploration and the sheer volume of failure that comes into that process. It's absolutely fascinating. The fact that change is happening, particularly in Wales actually, despite some of the challenges that we face as a small nation, change is happening. Look at, again, the national speed limit rollout shows that it's possible to do something at a national level that affects lots and lots of people for the better. So I'm really positive about things like that. And I think the opportunities that AI offers us, if we're careful about how we use them, really could help us to develop the kind of next generation of big ideas.